Hey everyone, this is Tracy Friedlander. You're listening to Crushing Classical, redefining a thriving classical music career. Welcome to my new Hot Seat series, where I have conversations with musicians, many of them my clients, who are redefining their teaching businesses to create musical, creative, and financial freedom in their lives. You'll hear inspiring conversations with today's most entrepreneurial musicians building teaching and coaching businesses online with not only their expertise on their instrument or voice, but pulling in their own uniqueness that sets them apart from the rest, creating them as an individual in a sea of classical music sameness. Not only will you hear their stories and what they're creating, I'll be coaching them on what's next for them in real time, just like a masterclass. So you'll be able to take this advice and apply it in your own business. It's time for everyone to own their uniqueness in the classical space and build their careers around what they bring to the table. That is what Crushing Classical is all about. And if you are starting to think in new ways about your teaching business, whether you want to find more students online, create new offers for your existing students, or create different learning experiences and learning opportunities in general, I invite you to download my free report, Get More Students, attract top quality students that are a joy to work with and pay you top dollar. In the report, you'll read how to attract your ideal students, increase your income without working more one-hour lessons, and how to set yourself apart from the competition, and tons more. It's packed with great advice. You can find that link to download it in the show notes. But before we get started, I want to invite you to check out FONS.com. FONS is a payment and scheduling platform for musicians and appointment-based businesses that streamlines automatic payments and scheduling, keeps everyone in the loop with the dates, times, and Zoom links for lessons, automatically charges the student for their lessons, resulting in a direct deposit to you. You're going to love the ease and simplicity FONS brings to the payment and scheduling side of your teaching business. You normally would get a 14-day free trial with FONS when you sign up, but now you can use my link directly to receive an extra 30 days on top of that. Check it out now. The link is in the show notes. Let's get started. Lynn, let's talk about what you've been creating. I mean, you did Online Empire Blueprint twice, and out of it, you created a really awesome violin program, which I love.
Yeah. So Violin with Dr. Lynn has been born, and I created a boot camp. I called it Summer Violin Boot Camp, and trying to launch in the process of launching my next one. So I think I'm just going to call it Violin Boot Camp 2.0. Because I thought I was going to call it fall, but I'm still kind of toying with the time of when I'm going to release it in the fall or in the winter or in the new year. So
I like 2.0. That sends the message. This is the next round. Yeah, it's great. And you've been just crushing your social media presence. Like
thanks to you and classical vibes.
It's so great. Well, what I love about your story, and I tell so many people this, is that like when you started, it was basically a personal account.
Yeah,
right.
Like my social media.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like you weren't talking about violin, like besides like your performances, you weren't teaching violin on there.
No, because before I had your coaching, I was really hesitant to spout off about being violin-y because I just thought, it's so boring. No one wants to get into that because I've seen that on my Facebook account where I post on violin, it's just crickets, nothing. So
right, because that's your profile and that's what people are. People are there to be your friend, and so when you do that, they're like, "Okay, are you telling this to me or someone else?" I don't know. But when you started doing that on Instagram and YouTube, what you discovered was there were tons of people.
There's an audience, So I guess you can decide how you use your social media. So I decided, you know what, Instagram. This is no longer the time to post sunset photos and your food. Like this is going to be a vehicle, right? And so I started off with 750 followers at Pandemic, and I'm not the fastest grower by any means, but now I'm approaching 4K now. Soon I'll be 4K.
What? That's enormous. That's an enormous jump. Are you kidding?
Really? I'm not the hugest. I've seen people jump even more, but you know what? It's okay. I'm not in it for vanity metrics. Vanity metrics mean I'm a better person. I'm a better person because I'm a better person. period. Doesn't mean
That's such an important message, Lynn. It
it
is, because so often you go, oh, but I only have X amount of followers.
Exactly.
Oh,
What does that mean to you? Does that mean you're a better person? Does it mean you're more spiritual? Does it mean you're more generous? No, it doesn't. Numbers
right.
do not mean anything. What matters is how you grow as a human being. So whatever number that's attached to it's not even attached to anything. So I don't even care what the number says. What I'm more concerned about is if I'm growing as a human being, and by extension, if people around me are growing from my influence. That's what's most important to me. That's why I'm in business. You know, they ask you, what's your why in your business? It's to share, it's to grow, it's to create, and it's to just connect. Those are my whys, right? Connect, share, grow, create. And if I can do that and earn a living, then I've basically fulfilled my duty as a human being.
That's amazing. You should put that on your social media.
Okay, I'll review that in the recording.
Yeah, that would be so great. Like, that's a great message. And I'll tell you this, like, just because that particular thing that you said doesn't exactly speak to like how to play a scale on the violin or something like that, it doesn't matter, because every person needs to hear what you just said. Like, every human on the planet, especially people who are on social and are using it for this or that, like when they hear that, it's like validation. I don't have to have 1 million followers to be successful. I don't have to have XYZ. It's about growing as a human. It's about sharing, you know, and true. If you can make an income at the same time, so great.
Yeah.
And that's what I want for people. I want for people to be able to be in control of their income, so they're not waiting by the phone, waiting until a pandemic ends, all of these things, because you have no control over that.
Nope.
So
no, there's definitely the least amount of control in this year, in this perhaps decade, a couple of years in this decade. We have the least amount of control. We don't know how this pandemic, this virus is going to behave, how people are going to behave in response to the virus. So therefore, we do need to find ways we can control what we can control. And you're right, the industry is kind of slipping from our fingers. So we have to do something. And so through your guidance, I'm so glad you're doing all of this. Like, the podcast is just, it's spearheading the way for all of us. It's fantastic. And so I have students who are basically following in your footsteps now. They're hitting your podcast or joining your trainings, and they're like, I had a student, she's just opened up her own podcast. So there you go.
That's so awesome. Yeah. That's so great. Yeah, I know. I mean, podcasts they're not new, but they're starting to catch on as a really great way to put content out so people can just listen and not watch, you know, because sometimes you're on the go, sometimes you're walking your dog or whatever, and you can take it with you as an audio. Audio is awesome. It's like what people knew about radio all this time, right? Except radio sort of went out of fashion.
You know, that's what's funny is my sister absolutely adores old time radio. So I said, are they new podcasts? No, they're just replays from the 30s, and she listens to them all.
She's on a podcast?
Yeah. She's a podcast lover, and she just absolutely eats them up. And they're just old radio broadcasts. She loves them.
That's so cool. Yeah, I love that.
Are a thing. Like, they're totally a thing. She has her podcast regimen down, and she knows exactly how to download them, organize them. Yeah. So podcasts are the future.
Yeah, I really think they are. The retro future. I know, totally. So tell me a little bit about the violin boot camp. Like, what are you guys doing in there?
So the last time I had an 8-week boot camp, and I structured it so there was a weekly master class, and a few of the master classes I invited some guest artists. I had Nathan Kuo coming. I had Jennifer Johnson teaching body mapping, and that was to help prevent injury and learn better movement patterns. And I also had a guest teacher from University of Oklahoma, an old friend from University of Toronto, and she is was the violinist of the Cecilia String Quartet, the former Cecilia String Quartet, Min Kuo. So I had those 3 guest artists, and they came in, and they were all incredible. I broadcast the Nathan Kuo masterclass onto my YouTube channel, and people love it. It's great because Nathan's fantastic. So I had the Monday masterclasses, and then on Fridays I had a Friday fundamentals. My sister helped me coin that term. It's great. So I did. Basically, I took one topic every Friday and went deep on it. So I took shifting, double stops, spiccato, peak performance. We even covered mind-body care. We covered string crossings, all that kind of thing. So we just dive deep. And then everything was recorded so they could watch it again. I even created some notes. I was really, really super nerdy about it. And after the class ended, I went back to my computer and typed all the notes that I could possibly remember, and then cleaned it all up and formatted it and sent it to my boot campers. And
That's amazing.
yeah, I'm overachiever that way. So then I gave them private lessons, and depending on the level of participation that they were in, they had 1 or 2 lessons or whatever. We also had a private Facebook group, and in that group, I was in there motivating them, giving them inspiration, and giving them feedback, and encouraging them to send in their practice videos. Hey, where's your practice video? How are you sounding? How's your practice going? And I would send them my feedback. I would give them my encouragement. I would send in clips of things that inspired me. I would send in the little assignments, some challenges. And I even wanted to encourage them to go live, and not talking live, but playing live, because the thread throughout my boot camp is to train violinists to become more fearless performers. And that's a big thread in who I am as a person, not just as a violinist, because I'm also a martial artist. And I haven't been a martial artist for very long, but it has been life-changing and mind-blowing for me as a human being, because it's training me to become more fearless myself. And if that can empower me so much, I would love to transfer that to the people I work with. So I put that into my boot camp. So I said, I would like to challenge you to learn how to conquer any performance anxieties. And the best way to do that is through doing it regularly. There is no way to conquer your nerves unless you put yourself on the line, unless you put yourself under pressure. So I encourage them to go live. I encourage them to record little clips and upload them. And I also incorporated it into the Linja sessions. So these are what I coined as my group practice sessions. And Linja happens to be a nickname that people have given to me over the years. And I have 1 hour meeting on Zoom. They're all ready to practice. And so we get together, we do a little focusing meditation. We do a focusing meditation in karate training. So hey, let's do it in practice.
Let's bring it in. I know, exactly. And I remember when we first started working together, and I was like, this is part of your brand. This is part of who you are. You should bring it in. And you were like, oh, and so now it's like cemented as who you are. I mean, it already was. And that's what's so cool about talking about branding, is that it's not that crazy to like imagine what it is. It's just who you already are.
Yeah. And it was through you, basically working through your courses, that I started to discover this is what's important to me. This is part of my life. This is who Tracy's trying to help me figure out what I am. That means that's my brand. I get it now. So Ninja, quirky violinist, that's me.
Exactly. It's awesome. And it really comes through on your content. So it's really cool. Everyone who's watching, you definitely have to go follow Lynn at violin, right? But it's spelled Lyn.
Yeah, Violin Kuo Violin Kuo on Instagram and Facebook. And
awesome.
YouTube is just Lynn Kuo. I started my YouTube channel before I created Violin Kuo. So YouTube is Lynn Kuo. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah. And so what do you want to talk about today? I think you had mentioned to me something about lead magnets.
Yeah, I just created a lead magnet. And as you know, I had filmed a 4-part spiccato tutorial on the beach when I was on vacation, working while I was supposed to be resting. But I was just going back and forth. How do you strategize? Like basically business strategy. Like it's all trial and error. And this is where I get big question marks pop into my brain. Do you release it as free content, as publicity and marketing? Do you reserve it as partially as paid content? Do you reserve it as a lead magnet to get people a freebie, to entice people to give them your email so that you can invite them into your private world? And you tell us that email is king, right? Email is the most important way to get people into your community, into your tribe. So I released it yesterday, 2 days ago, and I think one person signed up so far, but I have not propagated it everywhere yet. So that's my question. Lead magnets, like what's the best strategy? Like landing pages associated with that. Yeah, it's just a bit of an experiment right now.
Yeah. So there's definitely, you can put something that you would normally put for free as a lead magnet and just not put it out there for free. So, but it should be something that's really enticing, something that's like 5 secrets, or the best way to do XYZ. Because, I mean, everyone who's watching this video has probably signed up for someone's email list before. And usually it's a reason that they want, some small problem that they want to solve in their life. And so that lead magnet should solve a problem or help them have an aha moment of some kind. Mm-hmm. I think that where it could go wrong is if it's too, like, I think the lead magnet should also solve a problem, but also keep the person wanting more. Like right. I remember seeing Nathan Cole's, it was like a list of 9 practice mistakes, right? And so if you got a list of 9 practice mistakes, you probably want to know, oh my God, am I making those mistakes? So let me get that. But then after you read it, you probably go, oh, well, I do make some of those mistakes. I wonder if he can help me solve them. And so now you're like, okay, I'm going to stick around. I'm going to find out more from him and see, like, maybe his next email is going to talk about, and at the end of the email, maybe he said, or maybe at the end of the lead magnet, he says, stick around, because what I do is I email my list with, these kind of tips or that kind of tips. And from time to time, I'll have an offer which serves violinists on a deeper level. So you kind of explain, like, knowing that they signed up for something, but there's more after that lead magnet. You don't want to just, you don't want to give them something that they're going to they just want to get that, but they don't care what you say after that.
So I have a question for you. So because you and I had decided that I would create a lead magnet based on my free 3-day workshop that I had done in June. How to practice the ninja. And there were 3 days to it. So if I create a PDF, do I create a PDF just based on one of those days, or a portion of each of those 3 days, and just say, and show them, oh, there's 2 other days missing that you don't know about? Like, how do I structure that? So
I would put all of it behind as the lead magnet. You don't have to give them part of it and then give the rest later. You have to create copy that makes them want the whole thing. You know what I mean? You don't have to say, here's the first step. To get the second 2 steps, you have to sign up. What you should say is, this is a training that I did and people liked it for this reason. Here's what people got out of it. Here's what it was about. And it's not public anymore. It happened last year and it's not available. But you can get it if you sign up for my email list at the link below. And you want to sell it like as if it's paid. Like, you got to come up with some copywriting around why they should actually see that. So, oh, Lynn, we just got a comment and I clicked on it and it showed up.
Yay, I know you could do that.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Maya.
Like your Friday fundamentals idea is exactly what I'm trying to start with my own online violin teaching platform. Very inspirational, but also I don't want to be a copycat, so I have to rethink it. Well, you know what, Maya? I'd like to speak to the copycat idea, because no matter what you create is not going to be exactly what Lynn creates. It's going to be different because it's through the lens of who you are. And so there's lots of people out there teaching violin, and that's okay. I said this to my group yesterday, that it's interesting how it can be easy to think, oh, it's already out there, and so I shouldn't say it. But think about, like, have you ever had an experience where you told someone in your life, your parents, your mom, your sister, your boyfriend, your kid, whatever, something over and over, and they don't hear it. And then they hear it from someone else and they go, oh, guess what I heard today? And you're like, right? I've told that too. Yeah. So, like, yes. Everyone's going to attract, and one of my participants yesterday said, well, there are 7 billion people on the planet. I think there's enough people for everybody, right? We don't have to worry that, like, someone else said all the violin stuff, so I don't need to say it. Everyone's going to hear things differently and be drawn to someone differently for the way that they say it and their unique point of view about it. So I really, don't think you have to worry about being a copycat. You should just go for it. I mean, the only way it's a copycat is if you completely plagiarize it and rip everything off, which is not something I know you would do or anyone would do. Yeah. But that's the only way that it's an actual copycat, is if you named it the same thing and you did the same content. But if you're saying, I'm going to teach a fundamental and this is my idea, then even if, It's completely unique to you based
Yeah.
on however you say it. Yeah.
Thanks for saying that, Tracy. That really helps actually, because I felt like I heard many people, for example, Lauren Pierce, the bassist, she created her high ticket program. She said,
Yeah.
I remember specifically in her interview with Jennifer Rosenfeld, and she said, oh, I just took Nathan's Virtuoso Master Course and just copied it. That's what she said. So, I mean, basically my Friday fundamentals class was basically inspired by Nathan's weekly workout. And in fact, just 2 days ago, yesterday, we did a weekly workout. We just did Shradyak exercises on the violin. I said, it's similar. I'm not doing exactly what Nathan does, but it's definitely inspired. It's an offshoot. And you're right. I definitely have different packaging. My voice sounds different. My face sounds different. Everything about me is different from Nathan Cole.
Yeah, I know. It's true. And I've heard people say, well, I'm sort of stealing what I learned and selling it and telling it to my students. No, that's how learning works. Like you learn from somebody and then you teach somebody something that you learned. It's not like, here, I'm going to tell you this thing and you have to seal it in your brain, never tell anybody again, Right. I feel it like that's how people keep playing the violin over the years and years and years. It's because people keep passing the information to the next person. That's Otherwise, true. It would have stopped. Nathan Milstein would have been the last violinist, and nobody else would ever play again. So,
by the way, side note, I just always love when you talk so amazingly violin-y.
I know. I'm married to a violinist, a really big nerdy one.
I love it. I love it. It's so cool.
I know, because he tells me all this stuff, and so I just know all these people. Like I know all this stuff about like the Russian, the style of how stoic. That's why when you put that video, like, are you stoic? And it showed like the guy, like I think it was one of those
Oistrakh or Heifetz or something.
Yeah, and how still they are. Like I laughed when you put that. That was a great video. That was so great, and I'm sure it reached a lot of people. But that's one of the ones that that I was like, oh my God, yes, he's been showing me these people all along. Like, isn't it amazing how they don't move and they just put all that powerful sound out, but they're just so still and stiff, It's interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
Cool. So does that help you clarify as far as like the
wait,
magnet?
Let me just review. So if I have that content that is broken down into 3 different segments, 3 different topics or 3 different days.
Are you going to share the videos or just
No, I was thinking
transcribe it
PDF. And I mean, 3 days worth of information is a lot. Do I bullet point and make it just kind of the salient points and not go into too deep, or what do I do there? Like, I'm not quite sure.
Would you share the videos? Or the audios of the videos?
No, I think we'll make it into a PDF.
Okay. Then I would in the copy of the, for the lead magnet on the landing page, I would really speak to what are the benefits of this training and why they should check it out, and invite them. What does it explore? 5 things you definitely want to change about your playing today, or you want to make sure that you might make it marketing-ish so that it's attractive. That's why it's called a magnet. Like it's going, I need that thing, and I'm willing to give my email to get it.
So I have a question. In terms of giving them the information, is it giving too much away so that they walk away, go, I got what I came for, bounce? Or how do I package it so that they go, oh, I see what she's saying. Can I get more from her? That's where I want to figure out. That's the tail end of that part. I don't want to give it so that they go, oh, perfect, I'm going to go away. I want them to say, yes, I see this information. Is there more? That's what I want.
Yeah, so that's definitely what you always want the majority of. And it's always an experiment, depending on, you might put one out and notice that a lot of people, like the good thing about MailChimp and these other things, they'll be tagged based on how they came in. And if you notice a consistent, like all the people that are unsubscribing are the ones who signed up for that lead magnet, then, maybe that one was, enough information for them and they needed to bounce after. And you're always going to have people unsubscribing. That's just a normal part of having an email list. But what I would say is you need to bake in to the content, how you write that, how you transcribe that training to speak to, I go deeper on this in my violin boot camp. Like you can market the boot camp in the lead magnet.
Yes.
Like this is what I do with my clients. This is how I help them achieve a stronger bow arm or all the things, whatever the topic is.
Okay.
Speak to that. By staying on this email list, you're going to find out more about when there's opportunities to work with me, or even just being on this email, you're going to get the first, this could be at the end, you're going to have the first notification of when my latest YouTube video comes out. And I always give great tutorials on Fridays or whatever, and so, speak to in there that you've joined a community. And by being in this community, you're going to get first access to all the things. And a lot of times my programs fill up fast. So if you're on my email list, you're going to be the first one to find out.
Perfect. Okay.
But I would definitely I think you'll know as you create the content, is this everything they need to know? Or what would you do if that person was in front of you that you can't do just on a PDF? And you can speak to that. Like, oh, this is something. There's definitely more that you can learn if you stick around.
All right. I'll have to do some thinking and make sure I can package this just as you said. Yeah.
It's pretty rare that you get a lead magnet and you go, I'm done. I don't need anything else from this person. Because you know that they do a lot of other deeper level stuff.
Very true. Even from videos too. I've watched lots of tutorial videos, and you don't walk away playing like hiatus after you watch a few videos.
No, of course not. So,
okay. So trust that it's not going to be too much info. Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, it's an experiment. So you'll put it out there. You'll see if it resonated by how many people sign up. And then you'll say, if you start to see a mass exodus, then you're like, oh, I'm going to take that down. It wasn't worth it.
Right.
I've done lead magnets where I'm like, you know what? The other one performed better, so I'm going to take this one down.
Oh. That's, I think, one of the greatest lessons becoming an entrepreneur. Everything we put out, everything we do is an experiment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you can't know exactly how what you say is going to impact somebody, where they're at. You can think that your audience is a specific demographic and then find out later that a whole bunch of other people that you didn't think of might like it.
That's so cool. Yeah, I'm discovering that too. I thought, oh, there's my demo right there. And then boom, so there's other people from that corner coming into the woodwork. And
exactly.
Everything is a surprise. It's like a little gift that pops into your inbox, or a little notification that comes into your DMs. Like, oh, this is, I didn't expect this. This is the way
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a very interesting journey being an entrepreneur. Yeah, and it's totally like hacking through the fields and the weeds and figuring out the path. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
It's exciting.
Cool. Awesome, Lynn. I'm so happy that you came on here today and we got to talk about this, and I got to tell everyone who's listening about your program. And so after this broadcast, you should go into the comments and just pop like a link to your socials and your YouTube channel and stuff, so people can keep an eye on you.
Sure. On Facebook, right?
Yeah, on my Facebook page. That's where this video is.
Cool.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Lynn.
Thanks, Tracy.